one of the first things I wanted to show you, this is the old quote tool. And what I wanted to do is suggest, just as a precaution, that what you may want to do is take a picture of your project window and with all of your folders open. And then that way you would have the names and quote numbers for all of your quotes. I've had several people ask me what's going to happen to their project tree and their quotes and quote numbers they have in the old system when we go to the new system. You should be able to access it, and you should be able to view it and print it, but you may not be able to, you may not, if you have any problem getting to it, if you just take your cell phone out and take a picture of your tree, there's another tool that comes with almost all Windows machines called the Snipping Tool. And it's you can find it by hitting the little Windows icon on the lower left-hand side of your desktop. And you can just start typing SNIP, and you'll see in the right-hand side it'll come up Snipping Tool, and you click on that. And it'll give you this little window here. And click on New, and you'll see the whole screen goes kind of a light gray, and then it gives you a little cross, which you hopefully you can see on your monitors. And you just take that cross and you put it up here where you want to take a snip, and you highlight that area and let go, and it'll create a picture of that you can then save to your desktop for later use. We are going to be keeping a copy of the old system with all the quotes in it, so that if for some reason you're not able to access your project tree with your quotes at a later date, if you have this snip, then you can just give us the quote number you want, and we'll be able to pull it up for you and send it to you. So again, I'd take a cell phone picture, and again, this is just a precaution, you know, a plan B in case worst comes to worst. And then, or you can use the snipping tool to get this section and save a file. Okay, I'm not going to save that because I don't need it. All right, I'm going to put that back over here. It's not in our way. So I think the first question after the project tree and what's going to happen to that a lot of people have had is what's going to happen April 6th, which is the actual date that the tool will be going live. As far as you're concerned, it's just like any update that we've done to the system in the past. So if Basecamp is running on your system appropriately, we're going to be doing the update over the weekend, and then your computer should automatically update. If for some reason Basecamp's not working properly on your system, then when you come in and you log into your system on Monday morning, the system should just do an update like other updates you've seen in the past. If you stayed logged in over the weekend, then what you'll want to do is log out and log back in. And by doing that, it'll automatically update the system, and you'll have the new tool. Again, just log out, log back in on Monday, and the system will automatically update. Now, depending on the speed of your internet connection, it's going to be a pretty big update, so it may take a little while. So you probably want to do it first thing in the morning and get it going. Now, as far as recovering old quotes is concerned, again, the project tree, your existing project tree and quotes should be available. So when you open up the new tool, your project tree and quotes should be there. Now, you do not want to update the old quotes. They won't work with the new system, but you should be able to open them and view them, and you should be able to print them. Now, for expediency's sake, if you have a quote in the system tomorrow and you know that you're going to want to work on it on Monday, then you might want to just go ahead and print it out today, you could wait and print it out on Monday and then re-enter it into the new system on Monday. Any old quotes that are going to be ordered in the new system will have to be re-entered. Now, again, I say for expediency purposes, you may want to do it yourself. If you want us to do it for you, we'll be glad to do that. But, you know, there's a good chance we'll have quite a few sent in to us to re-enter, so it may take a while for us to get them all input. And if you don't mind, I mean, it may take as long as a week for us to get them all put in. So if you can wait that long, that's fine. Just send us a list of the quote numbers that you'd like to have imported into the new system, and we'll print them out here and we'll manually re-enter them. But again, if you need to work on them right away and you don't have time to do it, you know, call me or call Heather or somebody in customer service, and we'll try and help you make that a priority. So again, you'll be able to open them. You should be able to open, view, and print your quotes. Do not try to do a PK update to any existing quotes. Hopefully, if you do try to do that, you'll simply get an error and won't be able to go forward. But I'd suggest you don't even try it, because it's possible it might screw up your old quote, and hopefully it won't make it unrecoverable. But we will have a copy of it on a backup system. If you do screw it up and you need it, you let us know. But just if it asks you to update PK, just say no. Okay. So let's get into how to start a new quote with the quote tool. Now, you probably already have an icon on your desktop similar to this one that I've got here for starting the quote tool. So this is the new quote tool icon. And Josh, will this be updated for everybody? Okay. So you should see this after your system's updated on Monday. So I'll just go ahead and double click on it. Now, this is the new SunQuote logo at the beginning, but the username and password is just like what you've always seen in the past. Okay. So the username, I've typed in test user. Now I got to put in the password. All right. So this, right now, this should all look pretty familiar to you. Very similar to the old system. So you got the start page here, and let's start a new quote. You'll notice I've already built a couple of quotes in here, so I've got a project tree over on the left-hand side, and this project tree has a couple of quotes inside of it. I got Joe Builder here that I've set up as a project, which creates a folder for Joe Builder. And I got Jim Builder, his brother, who's got his own folder. And inside here, I've got the Springbank Lot 15, which is the address for this quote. And then I've got Lot 16 here, and his brother's work on Lot 17. Huh? Yeah. So I'm going to go in here and start a new quote. And this, again, this is probably old news for some of you, but I always like to start by putting in the project name. So I've got a new builder here. We'll say Jesse Builder, Jim and Joe's brother. And let's say Jesse's working on, he's also in Springbank. So I'll call the quote name Springbank Lot 18. Okay. So now Jesse, oh, by the way, and a lot of you probably know this, but just like in the old tool, once you create a project folder for Joe Builder and Jim Builder, which you can see I've already got over here, they will be in your drop-down list. So in the future, you can just select Joe or Jim Builder. And now I'm doing one for Jesse Builder. So when I accept this, you'll notice that Jesse doesn't have a folder over here yet. Well, that's because I haven't saved the quote. So I'm going to go ahead and save the quote, and I recommend that you save early and save often. It's always so you don't lose your work. So I'm going to save now. All right, so it says it's been queued for saving. I'm going to click OK. All right, so now if you look on the left-hand side, Jesse's got his own folder, and he's got the quote Springbank Lot 18 in that folder, and it's got a quote number. So now it's on our server, and if you need help with it here, somebody here can pull it up. All right, so at this point, I'm going to build a new unit. Now, this is kind of the first new window you've seen in the new quote tool. At this point, in the old tool, we do have some images like this, but it's quite different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a clad window. Now, I could do a window, a part of the window product line, or the door product line, or the vinyl windows product line, but I'm going to do a clad window. And then in the clad window product line, I've got to choose between casements, double hungs, sash set fixed products, or direct set. So I'm going to do a casement window. Now in the casement window type, I've got to select which specific window I want, either a casement, an awning, or an operating arch top, a bay, or a bow. So I'm going to do a casement. Now I'm going to do one wide. Again, this should look a little different to you than the old system did. Okay, now this, for the first time, we've gotten into the actually building a window piece of the new quote tool system. You'll notice the difference between this and the old system is the old system would have defaulted to the minimum size. The new system doesn't do that. It's going to force you to either pick a custom size or a standard width to start with. So I'll pick a 30-inch width, and now I've got to pick the height. So let's say 72 inches. Okay, so this is the first time I'll get an image of the window, which of course in the old tool it would have just defaulted to the minimum size. Now this is another significant difference you're going to see right away. Typically the old system would have made several choices for you. So it would have defaulted to a standard color, and it would have defaulted to white in the old system. But the new system's not going to do that. It's going to require you to pick the standard color category, and then you're going to be presented with the 21 standard colors. Now I'll show you here, each one of these windows is resizable. Okay, so you can move this down and see all of them at once, but keep in mind that it's possible that I may have this window too small and I don't see all the choices. So look for these slide bars on the right-hand side. If you see a slide bar on the right-hand side, that's going to indicate to you that there are more choices that you can't see. So I'll go ahead and slide this down where I can see all the choices. Now, as soon as I see all the choices, you'll notice that slide bar went away on the right-hand side. So with no slide bar, I know I'm looking at all the choices. I'll go ahead and move this up a little bit. See my slide bar over here, okay? But I'm going to select white. Now, the old tool would have already selected white for you. Here's another situation where the old tool would have defaulted to 270 glass. The new system's not going to do that. Now, it is your first choice, and you can pick 270 glass, which I'll do here in a minute. But one of the things I want you to notice is this little eye. This is an information icon. And it's completely new to this system. We didn't have it in the old system. But what it does is if you click on that button, excuse me just a second. If you'll click on that button, by the way, for people who are just joining, we've had several come in since I started. I'd like to let you know that as this session goes on, if you have any questions, just select the chat window in the Webex and type your questions in there, and we'll get to them when we have a minute. So anyway, here at 270, this is the first place we see one of these little eyes. So I'm going to click on that eye. What that does is it's an information icon, and it's going to give me information about glass types. So I can read all this. If a customer has a question to me about the difference between 270 glass and 366, I can get that information here. I can also print it out so the customer can take it with them. Just select the print button, and it'll print this PDF out, and you can hand it to your customer. The other thing you'll notice is below here, this is new, the base price is listed underneath the window. In the old system, you would have had to go save this window or accept it to find out what the price was. Well, now every time you make a selection, it's going to add the price. So I just selected the 270 glass. So you can see here that it's added the Sun Advantage 270 glass, $42. Now these are list prices, okay? so you'll have to apply your discount. But as you're building the window, it'll give you the total list price. So right now, this window is $588 list. And again, that's a new feature. So after I've selected the glass, again, it's not going to default to the hardware color. So I've got to pick the hardware color. Now, at this point, there's something else, a new feature here that you'll see. Just a second. Okay, there's a new feature here. You see this $sign? This is an indication for you that it's an optional hardware color and there's an upcharge for it. So any point where we have an optional hardware finish with an upcharge, you'll see these little $signs. So in this case, if I selected the standard hardware, there's no upcharge in the list price down here. But if I go back, you'll notice I went over to the left-hand side here to this list and went and selected Clad Casement Hardware Finish, and that's what brought this list back up. So let's go back over here and select one of these with a $sign. Okay, you can see right here, optional hardware color, $130 list. Okay, so now I've got the optional hardware, so now my window's gone up to $718 list. At this point, again, in the old system, it would have defaulted to a full screen and probably a roll form. At this point, I actually have to select that I want a screen, and I'll select roll form. I'll go back there. Screen, white, no grill. Okay, so at this point, I've answered all the required questions, and I've got this check mark. And the check mark means that the unit's complete. I can continue to modify it, or I can accept it and finish it and order this window. So to continue to modify it, I would go over here to any of these items on the left-hand side and make a selection. So instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is point out to you that there's Finish and Exit down here in the right-hand corner, Finish and New, and Finish and Copy. So if I finish and exit, this is just like Accept in the old tool. So I'll do that. And it takes us back to a pretty familiar screen, which is the list view or the line item view of the windows. Now I'll open this unit back up, and it'll take me back to it. If I did Finish and New, and so this is different, if I did Finish and New down here, it would actually take me back to beginning building a new window. So let's say I want to go from the casement products to a double hung product. I'd hit Finish and New, and then I'd select double hung. Or I can Finish and Copy. If I finish and copy, it's going to make an exact duplicate of this window. So if you look at this, it says line 100. I'm going to finish and copy. All right. Notice there's really no difference between what we were looking at before, except up here where it says line 200. So now I've got two windows that are identical. I may want to do that because they're going in different rooms instead of making a quantity change of two. And by the way, the quantity can be changed up here in the right-hand corner. You'll see it up here. I'll go ahead and I'll make two of these windows. And I'm going to, instead of going out to the line view to add my room comment, I'm going to go down here to the very bottom. You'll see down here where it says General Comment Room. I can type in my room comment here. So that makes this window up here active, and I'm going to say Master Bedroom. And I'm going to accept that. So now I've got a room comment here. And by the way, I'll mention to you that just like the old tool, the comment room section in the quote tool only shows up on the label that will be put on the jamb of the window. If you put a comment here, don't expect anybody in the factory to see it. It'll only be on the label of the window. The comments for the factory actually go somewhere else, which is a production comment. And you can enter a production comment, but we prefer that you call customer service or someone here at the factory to help you enter production comments. And production comments do end up on all the paperwork in the factory. But again, I just point this out. If you make a comment room comment, it's It's only going to be in the label. It won't be on the factory paperwork. So that's the only place it'll be seen. So, all right, so I've got this, and what I'm going to do now is finish and exit. And now you'll see it takes me back to my line view. I've got the first window I built, and I've got these two windows, and they're going in the master bedroom. Now, just like in the old quote tool, you could enter your room comment here. So I'll just go ahead and say this goes in bedroom 2. Okay. Now, I haven't saved in a while, so I'll go ahead and save again. Okay. All right, so it's saved. So let me, I'll go back and open up line item number 1 again. And instead of finish and copy or finish and exit, I'm going to do finish and new to show you what happens there. So click on finish and new. So this takes me back out to the product lines again. So do I want a clad window, a door, vinyl window? I'm going to click on clad window, and in this case, I'll build a double hung instead of a casement. I'll do it 1 wide. Now, here's something new. While we're at this point, I want to point out these little red balls. I didn't point them out when we built the first window, but these little red balls, if you can read that, it says answering this question is required. Again, these are required questions. It's different than the old tool. You're going to have to answer these before you can actually order the window. Now, I will mention at this point that you can set preferences in this tool. So when you set those preferences, you can eliminate the need to answer all these little red balls, because when you set the preference, either at the user level or the quote level, these will all be answered for you. But if you can see the red ball is now repeated over here. It's got the same message, answering is required. So I've got to select the model. Do I want the easy tilt model or the comfort tilt model? A nice new feature with the new quote tool is you can build a whole order of easy tilt windows. You could have 30 easy tilt windows. And you can now do a global change and switch it to the comfort tilt model. In the previous quote tool, you couldn't do that. You'd have to redo the entire quote in comfort tilt. In the new system, you're going to be able to select easy tilt, build your whole quote, and then if you want to price it as comfort tilt, you just go into a global change and get your new price. So I'll do a 32 by 62. Now, this is something else I want to mention to you, and I think the double hung is the appropriate place to do it. We're no longer going to be using call sizes. The old system, we used call sizes, and those call sizes were related to the glass size. They weren't an exact glass size, but they were a glass approximation. So you may recall, for the people who have been using the system for a while, that if you had a call size 32 width, then the actual unit size was going to be 36 inches wide. So it's saying the glass size was 32 inches, the unit size is 36 inches. Well, now, if you select what looks like a call size 36, it's actually going to be a unit size 36. So when you select these numbers, that's the unit size. So we did I think I did a 32, and I'm going to do a 62. All right, so you can look here, and you'll see on the picture it actually says it's 32 inches wide, and it's 62 inches tall. All right, so I'm going to select a standard color, and let's do it Nighthawk Gray, and I will, let's put 270 glass in this. I'll stick with a standard hardware. Now at this point, I'm going to do a full screen. Now one of the differences between a casement and a double hung in the new system is when I select the full screen, it's going to ask me for roll form or extruded, and so I'm going to select roll form. Now you'll notice it didn't make me pick the color. On a double hung, it's just going to automatically default to the exterior color. But if you go up here and look, we did a window that I think was Nighthawk Gray. Nighthawk Gray. And I happen to know that we don't have a Nighthawk Gray roll form screen color. So it's gone on here and it says match screen to frame color, yes. And then it says screen frame color, change on common. Well, if you look at it, even though it appeared that I had my screen selection done, I've still got a red ball here and it's locked. So I might not have realized that till I got finished building this window, but that's going to stop me from finishing the window. So now I'm going to do a grill type. I'll select none. Now I would think I'd be able to build this window, but I don't have a green check mark anywhere or any messages over here saying I can order it. I thought I did everything, but now I'm going to go over here and I see, oh, look, there's a red ball here. That's what's stopping me. So I'll click on that, and it's saying screen frame color, change on common. So at this point, I try to select white, sand, or dark bronze because I want a roll form screen. Oh, wait a minute, I can't do that because this is a double hung window. The screen's going to go on the outside, and then the screen frame color wouldn't match. And I said here, match screen frame color, yes. So if I actually wanted a roll form screen, I'd have to go in here and select no. Then it would let me use a roll form screen, but I'm not going to have a matching screen color. So I'll go back here. I'm going to select yes again. All right. So now it let me do that, but I still can't select a color, and I still can't finish the window. Okay, well, I actually want a screen that's going to match Nighthawk Gray. So I go back up here and it says roll form. Realize that's the problem. I'm going to have to build an extruded screen. So I click on extruded screen. It said match it, yes, so it automatically made it Nighthawk Gray. Now I've got an extruded screen with Nighthawk Gray, and I can actually finish this window and order it. So I'll finish and exit. All right, so it's got me back to my list view. I've got my window with Nighthawk Gray. I'm going to build another window. I'll do a clad wood window. I'm going to do a double hung. Do it one wide. I'll stay with the easy tilt. I'm going to do it 32 inches wide, 62 inches tall. Hang on just a second. Okay, so this window, I'll go ahead and I'll do a standard color. I'm going to do it white. I'll do it with 366 glass this time. I'm going to do a standard hardware color. I'll go ahead and do a screen frame. I'll do it roll form, which wasn't a problem this time because it's a white window, so it automatically selected a white roll form window. And I'm going to put a 1-inch SDL bar in here. And I'll do a colonial look. Okay. So a couple of things I want to point out. This left-hand side here, you see, this is where you have all of your choices, and you can scroll up and down and make all your different selections for attributes. If you'll notice the little padlock over here on the right-hand side of this list, that means it's something you can't change, all right? So in this particular window, let's say I want to change the size. Well, if I go up to the top here under dimensions and I look at double hung, I'll see where it says overall frame width 32 inches. Well, that's the size I selected. Overall frame height 62 inches. And they're both locked. I can't change them. Well, that's because this quote tool measures the window in several different ways. And it considers these first two numbers to be overall frame dimensions. Well, it just happens the way it's set up that it's also the same as our unit width and our unit height down here below. So all you have to do, even though they're the exact same number, is go down to the unit width and click on that. You see there's no padlock here, and then that's where you'll get the option to select different sizes. Same thing for the unit height. So again, don't let it fool you just because you see overall frame width and frame height up here and they're locked that you can't change the size. Just go on down a little bit further and you'll see unit width and unit height, and that's where you make the size changes. All right, so we've got a 32, 62, and we've got a colonial grill. let's say I'm not particularly in love with this colonial grill pattern. Just like the old system, this is the default standard colonial pattern, all right? So what I want to do, though, is I want to make it a little simpler. So what I have to do is go over here to grills on the left-hand side. I've got the size selected. It's 1 inch. That's good. I've got a match color to frame. That's good. By the way, I don't have to match the color to frame. I can select a different color here just by clicking on that, go no, and then I can select Nighthawk Gray or something else and two-tone the window, and there's no upcharge as long as I stay within standard colors. But I go on down, I see my grill pattern, and then I see it's typical. Well, I don't want a typical pattern. I want a custom pattern, so I'm gonna make this a little less complicated. So I'm going to click on Custom. All right. So now that opens up the option to change the number wide and the number high. So I'm going to change the number wide to 2. All right. So that's the simple pattern I want. I got a 4/4 pattern. I like that. I'm happy with everything else on here. I'm going to finish and exit. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to build a casement window that looks very similar to this. My customer, for some reason they wanted a double hung and they want some casements that look just like it. So I'll open this window again. Instead of finish and exit, I'm going to do finish and new. I'm going to go over to the casement window, casement products, 1 wide, and I'll do 32 inches wide. And I think that one was 62, so I'll do 64. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. It's a white window. I'll do it with 270 glass. I'll use white hardware inside. I'll do my screen. Now it's going to make me pick my color again because it won't default to the frame color because that's exterior and the screen on the casement goes inside. So it's going to make me pick the color. I'll just go ahead and do white. Now at this point I'm going to do the 1 inch STL and I'm going to do the colonial pattern. Now, on the left-hand side here, after I select colonial pattern, this is clearly not what I want if I want it to look like a double hung. But what I'm going to do is go over here now after I click that pattern, and I'm going to get this option for a simulated check rail. And right now it says no, so I'll click on it. And I'm going to do simulated check rail, top and bottom. This is something you can't currently do in the existing system. All right, so this doesn't look like what I had. So it's the typical pattern. So I'm going to click off of that, or click on typical, and I'm going to click custom. So now I want these to be 2 wide, like the pattern I had, and 4 tall. Okay. Uh-oh, doesn't look right, does it? What's happened is it's moved my check rail up to the first bar position, or the 4th bar. Anyway, the wrong place, not in the check rail place or location. So I'm like, I guess I can't do this. No, actually I can. If you look over here to the left-hand side, you'll see where it says check rail bar number, and it's set to 3 right now. So that's 1, 2, 3. All right, so I'm going to click on that. And I want the bar location for the check rail to be at 2. So I select 2. So now I've got a casement window that looks very similar to that double hung I just built. So I'll finish and exit. And here's my casement with the check rail, and here's my double hung that it's supposed to look like. Again, that's a brand new feature that you can do in the new quote tool. All right, let's do one more interesting. There's a lot of new grill options that you're going to have. I'll go ahead and build a casement window, 1 wide. Let's do it 32 by 64 again. Okay, I'm back to grills. I'm going to do a 1 inch grill again. This time I want to do a Craftsman. Now you'll notice that it gives me a Craftsman with a 1 inch grill on the horizontal and vertical. I can change this. It's a little complicated, and so you probably would want to call customer service to have us do this, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what I would do to do that. I'm going to select Simulated Check Rail. Yeah. Josh is in here, and he's whispering to me, so you guys can't hear him. What he wanted me to point out to you is you can see here the grill bar spacing from the top of the frame is 15 inches, okay, which is this dimension here on the window. He wants you to note that so that when you do the simulated check rail, you can set it to 15 inches. So I'm going to click on Simulated Check Rail. I'm going to do top only. Now you'll notice it moved the check rail down, or the bottom bar down to 50% of the window height. So this is where I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do custom, okay? And I'm going to change number wide to 2. I'm sorry, I want that at 3. I'm going to change number high to 2. Okay, so this is my Craftsman look. Now I need to set the height for where I want the horizontal bar. So this is where Josh wanted you guys to know. You type in 15 at that point and click accept. So now I've got a Craftsman pattern with a 2 1/4 inch horizontal bar. Now again, I don't expect you to remember all that. That's probably one of the more complicated things I'll show you today. But it is something you can do yourself. But again, if you forget, just give us a call and we'll be glad to do it for you. All right, so I'm going to accept that. I'm going to finish and copy. All right, so I copied this casement window. You'll notice the next thing it came up in this copy, I'm now in line 700, is the venting. So right here, I can make this opposite vent, which I'll go ahead and do. But let's say I want to do a fixed window. I can actually do that right here. I can go back to my right venting. There's another interesting grill pattern here that we can do now. We'll go back to grills. We've got the grill type. Let's see. Excuse me. None. Okay. Josh has actually helped me here a little bit. So I'm going to do grill type 1 inch. Now I'm going to select the colonial pattern again. But this time, what I want you to notice over here is you can do a simulated mull instead of a check rail. So you can do a single bar mull or a double bar. So you can see I've got a casement window here. It's 32 inches wide. Let me go back. I want to make that 36 inches wide. And make it a little bit shorter. All right. So now I've got a window that looks like it could be 2 windows and 1 hole, but it actually would meet egress. And it opens just like a normal casement window would, swings out this way. I've also got the option under simulated mull to make it a double. So now it looks like it's a push-out casement or a French casement. So that's a new option that you can actually configure yourself. You don't have to get a drawing from us or anything. All right, just a second here. Okay, here's another new feature. Let me finish and exit. Some questions. Okay, I haven't answered all the questions. What have I? My screen option. I'm going to do no screen. See, it wouldn't let me finish. So casement hardware finish, I'll just do white. All right, now I can finish and exit. Okay, I'm going to go up here and open up one of these double hung windows. Let's open up this one. This is a new feature. You can actually select your DP rating now. So this double hung window is going to come out of the box with a design pressure rating of around a 35 probably. 30 to 35. But if for some reason you actually needed a DP50 rating on this window, you can select under unit type up here, requires DP50 rating, and select yes. And then you'll notice down here, requires DP50 rating, it put the charge on here, $31 list. And then this window will be built to a DP50 standard. Okay, let's so exterior trim is not a required question, so you'll have to know that it's down here under wrapping if you want brick mold. So I'll go over here. Now, by the way, we've got another one of these eyes here, so that means it's an information link. I'm going to click on that eye, and it'll bring up these drawings for the different available brick mold casing. There's the Georgian. And again, you can print this out and give it to your customer or just for your own records. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and select the traditional brick mold. Now, if you weren't watching the picture up here, you might not have noticed that a brick mold dimension, height and width, got added to the drawing. That's new. I'm going to click off of that. If you watch the picture, I'll click off of it. You notice it went away. So I'm going to go back and click on it again. So now every product in the new quote tool, every product will give you the brick mold dimension when you add brick mold. Now the first question I'm asked when I show somebody that is, hey, can I put in the brick mold dimension and it'll give me the right window dimension? Unfortunately, that's not, that doesn't work right now. We do plan to release that in a future release, but Monday you'll only be able to build the window, then put the brick mold on, and it will give you the brick mold dimension. So then you can massage the size of the window to get the brick mold width you want. But at least you get the brick mold dimension on there, both for windows and doors, casements, and double hungs. Okay. Another interesting feature is seal pans. As you probably all know by now, seal pans are currently shipped with all of our doors, but they are not shipped with our windows as a default. So if you want to get a seal pan for your window, under wrapping over here, you can just click on seal pan, and then it says no, which is the default, or yes, you can add a seal pan. So again, it added it to the price down here. It's the list, $26, and it's giving you your total list price down here. So now I've got a seal pan coming with this window. And again, you couldn't do that in the old tool, but you can now. Another interesting thing about the brick mold is I can actually, let me see here, wrapping color. So I can go in here, and right now you'll see that it says match perimeter trim color to frame, yes. And so it's Nighthawk Gray. But I can easily go in here and select no, and then I can pick an alternate color. So maybe I've got Nighthawk Gray, and again, you've got a drop-down menu here, so you got more color choices. I'm going to go ahead and expand this window so I can see them all. So maybe I want the Nighthawk Gray with claret red brick mold. Can't wait to see that one. Expect Mike Davis to order one of those right away. Okay, so now I've got claret red brick mold, and again, as I showed you earlier, you could even have a third color of an SDL bar, independent. So you can have your zebra window, and there's no upcharge as long as you stay within the standard color. Okay. All right, one more feature here to look at. Let's, I'm going to finish and new. I'm going to build a casement window. Now, again, all this clicking I'm doing can be prevented by setting preferences. When you start your quote, if you know the whole thing's going to be Nighthawk Gray, just go in there and select standard, select Nighthawk Gray in your preference for the quote, and you won't have to pick that every time you build a window. and you can do that with screens and all the other preferences. But what I wanted to show you here is the jams. So you'll see it defaulted to a 4 9/16 jam. Now I can select 6 and 9, or I can select 3 and 1/8. A lot of our customers like to order the casement window without a jam extension, and the frame depth is 3 1/8 inches without the jam extension. And we have customers that will use the window in this configuration as a pocket window, so they'll make a pocket replacement window out of it, or some of them will use it and do a drywall return. If you'll look at, there's an eye here on 3 1/8 inch. You can click on that, and it will give you a detail of what it's going to look like, of what the window looks like without the jam extension. So normally your jam extension would go right here, either the 4 and 9 or 6 and 9. You'll notice there's no jam extension underneath the lock handle or the operating handle like there normally is. So again, this is what the 3 1/8 would look like. And of course, if you want to use this as a pocket window, you'll want to check to have us remove the nail fin at the factory. So of course, some people do use this as a new construction window, and then they drywall return to this point. Okay, so you just go over here, click on 3 1/8, and now you've got a casement window with a 3 1/8 inch jam dimension. Okay. All right, so we'll leave that at 4 9/16 for right now. So mulling. You see the mull unit right here? This is really different from the old tool. The old tool, you could only mull to the top of the unit. With the new tool, you click on mull unit, and you'll see that it gives you mull locations all the way around the window. So top, sides, and bottom. I'm going to select bottom, so I'll mull to the bottom. Now it's going to ask me, do I want a casement product? Yes. I'm going to say 1 wide, next. And the width, I think, what did I do, 32 inches? Yeah. Okay. So what it did was it mulled an awning window to the bottom of my casement window. Now that's pretty neat. One of the things I want you to notice here is that the window on top is grayed out. So what that means is that the only active window that I'm working on right now is the awning on the bottom. So I could add grills at this point or none. I can make color changes. Right now I'm going to say none. So now it says I can order the window. But what I want you to notice is if you look to the left-hand side here, you'll see how it's kind of bright orange. If you look a little further left, you'll see it's a dark orange. The reason I'm pointing that out is what's happened is the computer's popped up a screen on top of the main screen below. I just want you to recognize that that's happened. The way I get rid of this screen is I click OK. And the purpose of this screen is to give me the options on this bottom awning window. But when I click OK, this screen's going to go away and it's going to revert back to the screen underneath. So I'll click OK. So that screen went away, and now I'm back to the main screen, and I can select either one of these windows. So I select the top window, and again, now I'm only operating on the top, and you can notice a screen popped up on top of the main screen. And to get rid of that, I click down on OK again. So now I'm back to the 2 windows. Okay, so I think, you know, what I really wanted to do here was a twin with awnings underneath. In the old tool, if I wanted a twin, I'd have to start over. But the new tool, I can just click mull unit, and I can click on the side locations where I want to add my window. Now, you might think, well, if I selected both of these, maybe it would just automatically generate them. It won't, but I'm going to show you what it does anyway. You can see here this little hint. It says hold down Control to multi-select. So I'm going to hold my Control key down and select this bottom one. So now I've got these 2 selected on the side. I'm going to hit Next. I'm going to do Casement Products. It says 1 wide. That's fine. And I'm going to do 32 inches and Accept. Well, that's not what I wanted. It gave me just one big casement window next to these 2 smaller windows. So what I'm going to do is remove unit. Again, you can see I'm in a popped-up window that only affects this window that's highlighted. I'm going to do remove unit. So now I can't do anything at this window level until I select OK. It'll get rid of the pop-up window. Takes me back to this. And I still want to do what I said. I want to add a window here, and I want to add a window here and get a twin. So I'm going to do Mull Unit. Now this time I'm just going to select this one location. Click Next. Do a Casement Product, one wide, and 30 inches, because my other window is 30 inches. And there you go. So now I've got my twin. Now I want to add my awning underneath it. So I'm going to select OK to get rid of that pop-up window. Now I'm going to do Mull Unit. I'm going to select this location next to the awning. Next. Casement. One wide. Oh, wait. Cancel. Want an awning. One wide. Next. 30 inches wide. Accept. Okay. So now I've got a twin, and it's a double stack twin. I'm going to select OK. And what I want to change the venting on this window. So I click on it, brings up my venting options. I'm going to do right venting. So now these two vent to the center. Now I've got a quad window built. I'm going to select OK. So this takes me back to the main screen. All right. That's mulling. All right. We covered that you can, after you build a bunch of easy tilts, you can change them all to comfort tilts with a global change. You also have the ability to do that with an in-swing versus an out-swing door. So if you build a bunch of in-swing doors and you want to change them to out-swings, you just do a global change to out-swing, and they'll all change. Or you can pick them independently and change the out-swing without having to rebuild the door. Okay. Let's go finish and exit. I got to answer some questions. Nope. Nope. Now I can finish and exit. Okay. So now we've built all these windows. I'm sure most of you have used our double check tool on the old system. You'll see it says double check up here at the top. It's a really nice tool to check and see if you did everything you meant to do. There's some new functionality in the new double check. So I'm going to go up here and click on double check. And you'll see that it's highlighted in yellow every feature of these windows that where they don't have things in common. So you'll look, the first column here is a DP50 rating. Well, there's only one window that has a DP50 rating. So this double check is saying to me, hey, do all these windows need to be DP50? Do you want to go back and make some changes? Or did you make a mistake and select DP50 for this one and you need to change it back to regular? So I can do that here. Now, again, it's showing me all the inconsistencies. And if you'll notice down here, if you're used to the old double check, it works the same way. If it's checked, show inconsistencies only. If I uncheck it, it shows every attribute on all the windows. And you can see the inconsistencies are still highlighted in yellow, but I'm still getting, like, for example, nail fins. They all have nail fins, so there's no inconsistency. But I'm seeing everything. The benefit of this is it just gets rid of all the things that are in common. So I'm going to check that again. All right. So now this is going back. Let's say, oh, look at this. I got a window in here that's Nighthawk gray, and the rest of them are white. That can't be right. It's possible I want all of them Nighthawk gray, and if I did, I'd just go do a global change, and I'd change everything to Nighthawk gray. But let's say that the real outlier here is the Nighthawk gray, and what I really wanted it to be white. I just mistakenly picked Nighthawk gray. Well, all I've got to do with the new double check is double click on that. And it takes me to that window. And then I just go into color, standard, Nighthawk gray, select white. All right, so now I've changed this window from Nighthawk gray to white. So now when I do finish and exit, the color inconsistency should go away. So I'll do finish and exit. you'll notice the color inconsistency has gone away because all the windows are white now. If I go back in here and look for color, here it is. See, they're all white. So that's a nice new feature. If it were that I didn't need a DP50 window here, I could double click on that. It'll take me to line 300. I make that one change, go back, and this inconsistency will no longer be there. Okay. Let's close this. All right, the next thing I want to show you is with the Clad Windows. And on our current tool, you've had a lot of ability with the direct set fixed lights where the glass is set right in the frame. On the current tool, you only have rectangular windows that you can build with sash set, which the sash set window is our casement frame or sash fixed in our casement frame. Now you're going to be able to do sash set windows and build them in geometrics or radius products. So now I'm in the sash set family. I can go over here and do a geometric, do an extended round. I'm going to want that extended round to match up with the casement family dimensions or sizes, or I can choose the double hung sizes. I'll just do a casement. And I'm going to do it 36 inches wide and 58 tall. And it gives me a sash set window that you couldn't previously build in the old tool. And rather than picking all these options, I'm just going to finish and exit. It won't let me do that. I have to cancel. Okay. So again, with the sash sets, you've got a lot more options that you can build, radius and geometric. All right, so now we're out at the line item view. It's a good time to show you where you can set your preferences. So in my tools, if I know that every time I build a window, I want it to default white, then on my computer, I can just go into User Preferences, and under Color, Material Type, Color Category, I can select Standard, Exterior, White. And then when I click Save on that, every quote I start up will default to white, and I won't have to select white like I've been showing you. It'll just default, and every window I build will be white. Now, if I do that, and I save it at that level, so now if I'm at the quote level, so if I want to change preferences, again, the user level's up here at the tools, but if I want to do it at the quote level, let's say these windows are Nighthawk Gray that I'm building, and I don't want to have to select Nighthawk Gray every time. I can go in here, put Color Category, Standard, and then Nighthawk Gray. So the quote level preferences I'm setting will override the user level preferences. Okay, so I click Save. So now, let's see if this will work. Do a new window, casement. It didn't make me choose the color. And let's see, what color did it do? Nighthawk Gray. See over here on the left side? So it defaulted to Nighthawk Gray. So, and you see this little P here with a check mark? What that indicates to you is it turned this from a red ball down here to a P with a check mark. Preference matches. Oh, Josh wanted me to point out that all these things have a legend down here on the lower left-hand side. So these locks, required answers, and preference matches. So if I had done this quote without setting preferences, I would have had to select Nighthawk Gray and Standard. But because I set it at the quote level, it selected it for me automatically. I can do the same thing with the hardware. So I could select preferences. Again, I suggest that instead of setting user preferences, I would just, when I start a quote, I'd go in and I would select preferences at the quote level. And then that way, if you know you're going to have white hardware every time, you can get that taken care of, and as you build windows, you won't have to select that. Okay, so I'm going to cancel that. resolution. This is for printing purposes. You'll notice on here, I think one of these windows, this one I put brick mold on. All right, I can hover my little magnifying glass over here, and it will show me the brick mold dimension at the line item level. It's also going to print that out on my quotes. So if I go in here and I do print, and I select dealer medium and view, all right, you look down here at line 300, you see it's got the brick mold dimension on here. I don't know about you, but I can't read that. Now, maybe if I got my glasses on I could, but it's actually legible with a magnifying glass if you do a real fine print. But what I'm going to suggest is that you go up here under Tools and Options, and if you don't have your image resolution set to 200, set it to 200. It's probably defaulted to 300 on your computer because that's pretty much a default today, or it could be blank. But if you'll go back in there and you'll set it to 200, what it does is it makes that those measurement images a little bit larger, so that when you print it out, the numbers will be a little bit bigger, a little more legible. And we find that 200 is about the best. If you go to 100, for example, then it starts to get real grainy and you can't really read it. But I think setting it to 200 would make it most legible, where you can actually see the brick mold dimensions. The other thing, if I go in here and print this, I'll do dealer medium view. You'll notice on this window right now over on this size, it's only given the unit dimension and the rough opening dimensions. In the future, and not in the release on Monday, but in the future, it's going to give the brick mold dimension. So you'll have unit size, rough opening, or unit size, brick mold dimension, and rough opening that'll be over here. So it'll be a lot easier to read on future versions of the quote tool. Okay, if anybody's got any questions, now would be the time to ask them. Let me go over here to my chat window. Will we still be able to set up defaults, both quote system and defaults? Yes, we will. And I think that's what I just went over, that you can set, I think by defaults, the questioner means preferences. So yes, and again, you can set them up at the user level, or you can set them up at the quote level, and the quote level's right here, and I do highly recommend using preferences at the quote level. And I'd leave the user level not defaulted. You're less likely to make a mistake that way, I think. Okay, production comments is on the tree on the left. Production comments on the tree, yes, it is. So if I go into here, production comments, production comments, under miscellaneous. See, we don't want you to use it, so we put it under miscellaneous to throw you off. But basically, you just go in here, click on production comments, and then you can type your comment in here. Now, don't type something like in there, please make these windows gold-plated or 24-karat gold, and click accept, and then order it and expect no upcharge. We will upcharge you for 24-karat gold. Just kidding. Anyway, but basically, you can put a production comment in here. If you did, it will be on all the production paperwork out in the factory. I recommend highly that instead of putting your own comment in here, you contact someone in customer service, or me, or Frank, or somebody in IT, and talk about what you want people out in the plant to know, and we'll help you get the right production comment in there. I would suggest that if they do see this upstairs, if they find it when it gets ordered, they're probably going to call you about it anyway. But again, if you have a production comment, call us and we'll help you make sure it's worded right. Okay, next question. How to change handing or jam width? Okay, showed the, I think I showed the jam width, but let's, I didn't build a door, so let's build a door. Clad wood doors. Okay, I'll do a swinging door, do a 2-panel. Let's do an in-swing. By the way, that's where you could have done an in-swing or an out-swing. So, and you can go back into global changes, as I said, and we'll do a true French. And at this point, we're going to do a true French door. And now it's asking me, do I want the left panel? And again, all these views are from the exterior. Do I want a left panel active or a right panel active? I'll do the left panel active. And I'm going to do a 6-0, 6-11. All right. So now I've got a 6-0, 6-11 door. And you can see that we put a lot more information on here than we had on the old doors. So now it's telling you that the left panel from the exterior is the active panel, and the right panel from the exterior is the passive panel. The other thing we've done is we've put a top-down image on here that you can see. So it shows you, again, this used to be a welcome mat, but we actually decided we didn't want people to be confused whether we're welcome inside or outside the house, so we wrote exterior out here. So it's top-down view, this is the exterior, and this is how the doors open. We're not using handing anymore. Handing is not part of our nomenclature. We use hinging and active and passive panels, and we give you all these good pictures so you can tell the way that the panels actually operate. What do you want to change it to, Josh? Where do I do that? I'm going to go ahead and pick my hardware colors and no grills. All right, go back up. Unit type, true French. Go to double. Okay, Josh wants me to do a center hinge, so I'll do a fixed left. Okay, Josh wants you guys to see the adjustment in the drawing. So again, the hinge is over here. We're on the exterior. The exterior, looking at the top down, center hinge. This is actually left-handed, but we're not using that term anymore. But this is the way the door panel will open. Again, viewed from the exterior, arrow points to hinge side. Okay, so no screen there. Finish and exit. Now let's see what that looks like when you print it. Dealer medium view. All right. Now, this is another nice feature. Those images I was showing you in the quote tool, you can see that they also show on the printed version. So again, this is something you can show your customer. Okay, this is the outside of the door, the hinge side's right here, and the door is going to swing in this way. So those nice graphics that are in the quote tool are also going to print out on the printed version of the quote. Okay, let's see what other questions. I didn't cover jam width, but again, it works the same way as it does on the windows. You go down to wrapping on the left-hand side, jam depth, and then 4 and 9 or 6 and 9 are the two choices right now. If you need a custom-sized jam, you're going to need to call customer service, and we'll have to do a production comment right now. Oh, this is the in-swing. So for the outswing, it will be custom. Yeah. The reason this is, these are actually frame extensions. So these are made out of aluminum, which is why the only two choices, the 4 and 9 and 6 and 9 on the in-swing door. On the outswing door, where we can actually extend the wood jam, custom will be an option. So you can select a custom size jam on an outswing door. Okay, let's see what other questions. Are specialty colors for casements the same way? Have to be extruded. I think that it says, are specialty colors the same way for casements the same way? Do they have to be extruded? Yes. So if you want a non-standard screen color, I think that's the question. Maybe it's related to screens. It would have to be an extruded screen. I believe that's the question. All right, going back to the overall unit width and height, will it measure exterior casing? On the exterior casing measurement is going to be the brick mold, and it's possible this question was asked before I got to that. So when you select the brick mold or the casing, it will show you the brick mold or casing dimension. So let's do one. I think I had it on this. Did this have brick mold? I want to have brick mold on it. Now we just add brick mold. Okay, so the question is, this window is 32 by 62 1/8, so the brick mold dimension is 64 1/4. So now if I go to overall, no. So the answer is no. The brick mold dimension is not reflected in the overall frame width and height. Again, because the system's just, they're talking about the frame width and height, which the brick mold or casing wouldn't be included in that. So the answer to that's no. Overall frame, got it. Thanks. Can you set a preference for the example you just demonstrated? Uh-oh. If the person that asked that question wants to type and tell me what example that was, sorry I didn't get to that on time because I'm not sure what you're talking about. Are there parameters for custom jams? Yes. Yes, we do have, one of the things that you'll notice in the new quote tool, our production limits are now our actual production limits. I know some of you are probably used to us having a soft limit in the tool, and then you call up and you say, yeah, but could you build a double lung this tall? We've tried to eliminate that, and in the new tool, we're going to our actual production limits. So if it's taller than what's in the new tool, we're pretty much not going to be able to do it. Or if you've got a jam width that's custom, we're going to put in the new tool the biggest jam width that we're going to make here. So, you know, of course, you know how we are. I mean, if we need to do something special for you, it's a big enough job, call us anyway. But we have tried to expand those limits and pretty much take out the guesswork about what we will really do. A question about color casements was in regard to screen color. Okay, so I think I answered that. If you want other than the 3 standard screen colors, it's going to have to be extruded. Is there a place to put a comment that shows in the customer service level for notes for ourselves to see? That would be production comments. If you want everybody to see it, put it in production comments, and that'll raise flags for people. I've got a question. Can you change from decimal measurements to fractional measurements? And the answer to that's yes. So I'll finish and exit. That's back under Tools and Options. So you go to Tools and Options, and back here where I changed the printer resolution, if you look above, the first thing up here is Measurement Display. Right now I've got it set to imperial decimal inches, and you can do metric, which I doubt any of you will want to do. I certainly hope you won't. And you could select imperial feet and inches or imperial fractional inches. So if you'd rather have it say 32 3/4 instead of a 0.75, you can just click on that and save. And now when you open a window, you can see it says on this window it's 32 inches wide and the rough opening is 32 1/2 instead of 32.5. Again, finish and exit. That's under Tools, Options, Measurement Display. Okay. Any other questions? I think that's the last one we have on the list. We will have, we've done 2 of these sessions. One or both of them will be available through our website. Basically, we're going to put a link up there. You click on the link, and it will take you to Webex, and Webex will play the session for you. So if you have an employee or somebody in your shop you'd like who wasn't able to sit in for the whole thing or even part of it and you want them to watch it, you can send them to that link. If they have questions after watching it, and we didn't answer all the questions, just have them send me an email, or they can send Josh Hutchinson an email and ask their question. We'll be glad to get back to them. Any other questions? I'll give you one more shot. Okay. Well, everybody, thanks for joining, and we're looking forward to a successful release. I will tell you that it's the new quote tool, when it's launched, everything will not be perfect. We do believe that we've gotten it to the point where it's as good as the old tool and that we have all the major functionality working correctly. There are still going to be little things in the new tool that you can do that may not work perfectly. If you find something like that, please send Josh an email, or you can send it to me and I'll get with Josh. But it's jhutchison@sunwindows.com. Send us an email and we'll put it on our list of fixes and we'll get it fixed. But I think overall, when you start this up Monday morning, it should work pretty well. And again, you know, I'll be here Monday, and our customer service department and our IT department will be here. So if you got any questions, just give us a call.